Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Front Porch Center for Innovation and Wellbeing Sound and Vision Workshop. My name is Jen, and I'm here today with my colleague Kristle, and we're project coordinators at the Front Porch Center for Innovation and Wellbeing. Just a little bit about Front Porch. Front Porch is a nonprofit that manages and operates 10 full-service senior living and 24 affordable housing communities in California. And you may have heard of a few here in the San Diego area: Wesley Palms, Casa de Mañana, Carlsbad by the Sea, and Frederica Manor. And what we do here at the Front Porch Center for Innovation and Wellbeing is we explore the innovative uses of technology to empower individuals to thrive, particularly as they age. And we pilot and scale technologies that range anywhere from voice-first assistants like the Amazon Alexa to virtual reality to telehealth solutions, just to name a few. Before we begin, I'd like to start out with a very brief disclaimer so that we're all on the same page that although we are glad to share our research, evaluations, and findings, that Front Porch does not represent opinions or recommendations of licensed physicians, and that we encourage anyone with specific vision and hearing conditions to seek out trained professionals for advice. Okay, so let's get started with the sound portion of our presentation, and we'll move into vision in the second half. So a little bit of background on hearing loss, brought to you by the Hearing Loss Association of America. Hearing loss is a very common part of aging, and we know that hearing loss typically begins as early as one's 40s or 50s, and that tends to double per age decade. We also know that people wait an average of 8 years before actually adopting a hearing aid, and the majority of people never adopt one at all. And this is typically due to barriers in access, financial. We also know that approximately 1 in 3 between the ages of 65 and 74 has hearing loss, and nearly half of those older than 75 have difficulty hearing. A couple more statistics on hearing loss. We know that the decrease in hearing abilities is oftentimes linked to the increase in social isolation, and this is quite often due to when someone constantly has to ask their peers to speak up or repeat themselves. You can imagine how frustrating this can be. So oftentimes people may just avoid these social situations at all. We also know that half of older adults, 75 and older, do face hearing difficulty. And we also know that there's a 3 times fall risk for those with mild hearing loss. And we also know that there is up to 40% faster cognitive decline with hearing loss. And this is just this kind of is a precedent for things like Alzheimer's and dementia. And so, personal sound amplification products. PSAPs are also within the umbrella term of hearing assistive technology, which include anything from hearing aids to smartphone apps, but PSAPs are not regulated by the FDA. You can purchase them from anywhere like Best Buy, Amazon, Target, and they're marketed as communication enhancement devices. So they're not necessarily for those with severe hearing conditions, but more so those with mild to moderate hearing impairments. They're controlled all by the user's smartphone, so they typically come with an app along with the device. And they're relatively low in cost, especially in comparison to hearing aids, which we all know can cost from $1,500 to $10,000 a pair. Typically, PSAPs, you can purchase them over the counter for anywhere between $150 to $500. And these are just a couple of examples of how PSAPs fit in the ear, what they feel like. So the very first example is the New Hearer IQ Buds Boost, and these are wireless earbuds. The second example are the Bose earphones. So they kind of wrap around your neck like you see the gentleman in the right hand corner. And then the third example is probably something that a lot of people are already familiar with, are Apple AirPods, which are essentially wireless headphones, but also have accessibility features to amplify sound for the user. And this is an article that I always like to refer back to. It was published in 2017 by NPR, and it focuses on the departure of the stigma of hearing aids and the changing tides of perception when it comes to hearing loss. And we see a great deal of companies working towards developing PSAPs and towards more accessible technology, such as Doppler Labs, which is a hearing assistive technology research and development team. And K.R. Liu states, if one person is wearing their PSAP to stream music and another person is wearing it to amplify speech and hear the conversation, no one is going to know. So you're wearing tech in your ear proudly. So we're seeing companies that are acknowledging all these different ability levels of consumers and making technology that's more inclusive and accessible, and that works for us. And so Hearables 2.0 of Sound and Vision is the second iteration of our 2019 Hearables for All study. And this project was also supported by the Consumer Technology Association. And we realize that this is a continuing issue, and we want to capitalize on this moment of changing perceptions. So with our 2019 study, we introduced PSAPs to 101 residents across 7 affordable housing communities. And why we did this is to assess the impact and viability of PSAPs as hearing enhancement solutions for older adults. And like all of our projects at the CIW, we wanted to see whether having these devices in their possession would instigate more social engagement, community involvement, and an overall higher quality of life. So let's take a look at our findings here. We see a little bit more than half of users agree that their PSAP did increase their ability to hear. And this is huge because, like we've discussed earlier on in the presentation, if more than half of those who have hearing impairments are able to better hear these products, this can potentially mean a prevention in cognitive decline, fall risks, and social isolation. And then we see almost 40% agree that they were more likely to partake in community events. And lastly, we see that nearly 30% felt that their PSAP changed their enjoyment of life for the better. So we wanted to share some 3 hearing assistive smartphone apps that we really enjoyed. And just for clarity, Front Porch does not receive any kind of incentive from these solutions. They're simply apps that we found worthy of further consideration and research, and we wanted to share them with you. So the first one is Petrolex. I really like Petrolex because it starts you off with a very simple hearing test that gives you a baseline hearing level for each of your ears. And then from there, you're able to create different sound profiles based on the environment and customize these sound profiles even further to filter out certain sounds, suppress certain noises, eliminate white noise in the background. And it also comes with a 4-week adaptive course for you to get more acclimated to using the app. And I should say that all of these smartphone apps that I'm about to mention, it's best to use them with a wired headphone with a microphone. And that's because if you try to use them with wireless Bluetooth headphones, oftentimes the Bluetooth will interfere with the sound transmission, and you'll just hear a bunch of echoing and reverberation. So the second app is called Hearing Aid, and I like it because the user design is really simple, it's intuitive, it offers 3 levels of audio amplification, the amplification location, mic location, and the volume, and then it gets even more in depth with a 12-band audio equalizer with 6 different kinds of listening scenarios. So again, you can customize these scenarios based on where you are. For example, if you're in a busy restaurant with a friend and you're trying to hear that friend better, you would only want to amplify your friend's voice. Whereas if you're taking a walk in the park or walking down the street, you would want to amplify everything around you just as a safety precaution. You would want to hear oncoming cars, oncoming pedestrians, things like that. And the third app is called Mobile Ears. I really like this one in particular because number one, it's free, and number two, the interface is just very sleek, it's clean, it has the contrasting color scheme, which is really great for people who might have vision impairments. And again, these do require wired headphones, and they offer noise filtering and noise reduction. And I should say that with all of these apps, they can run in the background, so you can just lock your phone, put it in your pocket, have your headphones on, and go about your day. So hearables and voice. So voice-first technology is a really exciting field of technology that we're very invested in. And we're particularly interested in how combining hearables and voice can lead to an individual's greater autonomy. So we're seeing voice-first integrations in devices such as Alexa, Google Home Hub, and we're seeing features such as connecting to smart home devices, being able to read text out loud, calendar reminders. And then we're also seeing devices with the live listen or pass-through accessibility option. And this just allows you to use one of your earbuds as a microphone and then while listening in on the other earbud. So this is particularly useful in situations where maybe you're in a classroom and you want to hear the lecturer or the presenter better. You would just use one headphone as a microphone and place it in front of them. And hearing tech resources. So I know we're all shifting towards the digital world, so I like to share resources online to help you connect with others who may be experiencing the same challenges in hearing as you. Dave Kemp, he works for Oak Tree, and he also has a really great Twitter and blog and podcast, which is on his blog. And he talks about all things hearing health. He's very up to date with policy changes, new technology, which he shares via his podcast and blog. Reddit is also a really great resource. Two of my favorite subreddits are Hard of Hearing and Deaf, and this is just a really great opportunity to connect with people from all over the world who might be going through the same thing as you. And lastly, the Verizon Assistive Technologies for the Hearing Impaired. This is a very comprehensive guide on all things hearing technology, and also offers a breakdown of devices and suggested apps. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Kristle, to talk about vision.
Thanks, Jen. So why should we be paying more attention to vision? Well, first off, those with perfect vision may tend to take it for granted, and it makes it a little harder to connect with those who are experiencing low vision. But I bet you can think of someone right now, maybe a family member or a friend who is experiencing low vision, and you can see how the effects of low vision tend to trickle into their daily lives. So first, it's important for us to educate ourselves, be aware of what this experience is like, and then to see what resources are out there that can help. So let's be real for a minute. A 2016 study found that vision loss can affect one's quality of life, independence, and mobility, and has been linked to falls, injury, and worsened status of domains spanning mental health, cognition, social function, employment, and educational attainment. So the reality is, once vision is completely lost, it cannot be regained. And conditions like macular degeneration can't be cured. However, there are treatments that can help slow the degeneration. As vision loss occurs, it affects areas such as independence, making things like reading, socializing, or pursuing hobbies a little bit harder. It also affects activities of daily life, such as eating, shopping, driving, dressing, medication management. I remember one amazing front porch resident. She was experiencing vision loss, and she was telling me how people would greet her every day, like, "Good morning, hi, how are you?" And it was really difficult because she couldn't see the person or recognize who they were. And that was an eye-opening conversation, because can you imagine how disconnecting that would feel to not be able to recognize the people that care about you? Research also shows that vision loss is connected to mobility and falls, with people experiencing vision loss at a higher risk for falling. So taking these factors into consideration, our team has been exploring low vision assistive technology as well as solutions that actually correct vision. One of the vision correction technologies we tested was the Iris Vision headset. Similar to a virtual reality headset, this solution adjusts to vision impairments such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, optic nerve damage, and many more. And it provides the vision correction during activities such as reading, gardening, and watching TV. Our team was particularly interested in this solution because it also contains voice capabilities. So the user can say zoom in, zoom out, change modes. We're fascinated by how voice can be integrated into these technologies. Iris Vision also offers remote training, so making it more accessible. And then the price point was around $3,000, making it affordable. And then there's actually programs for veterans that can possibly get a free headset through the VA. So the Iris Vision pilot served as a measure to test the impact of how augmented reality can support residents with low vision in the areas of self-reported vision improvement, satisfaction, social engagement, and independence. We held this pilot at Wesley Palms, our front porch location here in San Diego, that actually has a status of a low vision friendly community given to them by the Braille Institute. The pilot consisted of 8 volunteers that were broken up into 2 cohorts that used the Iris Vision headsets for 2 months each. Iris Vision provided weekly training over the phone, and there were on-site staff at Wesley Palms that would check in with the participants every other week to see if they needed help with the headset. What we found were that there were mixed reactions to using the headset. As it turns out, 4 out of the 8 participants ended up dropping out before the end of their 2-month cohort. However, 4 out of the 5 post-surveys that we collected indicated that they felt there was a 3 or higher in level of usefulness. So most of the participants thought it was helpful. And then 3 out of those 5 surveys also indicated that participants were able to watch more TV because of the headset. One of our biggest conclusions is that the headset can be incredibly valuable for the right kind of person. This person would have qualities like having a vision impairment but not being completely blind. The person would also be open to learning a new kind of technology and have the patience to learn. They'd also have enough hearing and cognitive abilities to be able to take instructions from Iris Vision over the phone. So overall, this resource can be wonderfully impactful for the right person. Some of the feedback we got, one participant said that they hadn't seen their wife's face in 5 years, and then he was able to put the headset on and see her. One participant mentioned that they felt more comfortable in being able to see things clearer. She mentioned how she would walk into the dining room, put on her headset, look around for her friends, see where they're sitting, take the headset off, and then walk to where they were. So this brought her a lot more confidence. Some people said that the headset was too cumbersome for them. It was too big, it was too bulky and heavy, it hurt their neck, it hurt their face. And then one participant mentioned how they messed up some of their trainings because they couldn't get it right. Having observed that particular situation, I feel this resource could be helpful if there's another person in the room helping kind of guide the hands over where the buttons are while listening to the instructions given from Iris Vision. So I just want to reiterate that this Iris Vision headset can be incredibly valuable for the right person. Another vision correction solution we've been looking at is the New Eyes Pro 3. This is a set of smart glasses that has a more of a sunglasses aesthetic to it. It's a little bit lighter, and it has many of the same functions as the Iris Vision headset. New Eyes is also offering a program called New Call, in which the wearer of the glasses can actually meet with a doctor through the headset. It's quite fascinating. Now I'd like to get into the low vision assistive solutions that we've been taking a look at. I'll go into a brief overview of these 3 apps here. The first one is the Sullivan Plus app. This acts like a handheld magnifier in which you can use the plus or minus buttons to zoom in or zoom out, or you can press the middle button in the bottom that activates the AI. At this point, you can point the phone to whatever you'd like to be identified or read, and the AI mode will read out loud what is being identified. The pros of this solution are that, again, it acts as a handheld magnifier. It's free and very easy to use. You can make video calls with it. So the cons are that it's only available for the Android devices and that it doesn't always accurately identify the object that you're pointing at. The Be My Eyes app is really fascinating because it offers live assistance from a volunteer that's looking through the camera and seeing what you're pointing your phone camera at. This is great if you need something identified or read. The pros are that there are large buttons, it's free, there's that human connection element to it. And the cons are that, again, with human connection, there may be a little possibility for mistaking what's on the screen. We also noticed this specialized help section of it, which is great. It offers specialized help in the areas of assistive technology, beauty and grooming, such categories. But we kind of noticed that they were a little more like ads. So just to be aware of what you're seeing in this app. The next solution is called Ira. This is a mobile app that is similar to Be My Eyes, in which it does provide live assistance from an agent on the line. And again, you point your phone towards what you would like to be identified or read, and they tell you what they see. The pros of this solution are that it's available on both iPhones and Android devices. It does have that human connection element to it. You have unlimited amounts of free 5-minute calls. And you can connect rideshare accounts to this app. So the agent on the line can actually call an Uber or Lyft for you. And again, with the human element to it, there is the potential of making mistakes. That's not always the case, but the possibility is there. Now I'd like to go into resources that you already have at your fingertips. Without having to download anything, without having to wear a headset, your phone settings can be a great resource for low vision assistance. One of these settings you may already be familiar with is called the screen reader. Keep in mind that these settings may look slightly different depending on your phone brand. They tend to be different depending on the phone. One option that you may already be familiar with is the voiceover or talkback feature, where a screen reader will literally read everything displayed on the screen. To find this, it may be different, but I've put here on the screen how you may generally find this. It's typically in your general phone settings and then in the accessibility category. Another setting is your text settings. These can enlarge the text or make it bold or make it easier to see. So this is available, again, on both your Android and iPhone. Next is the text-to-speech option, which makes it very easy to dictate and send messages. Your phone may also come with Siri or a Google Assistant for further voice features, which are incredibly helpful. Your phone may come with many different accessibility options, so we highly recommend that you spend some time exploring what your phone has to offer. So now that we've talked about sound and vision, what's on the horizon? Our team is committed to furthering our research through the Sound and Vision Project. Supported by the Consumer Technology Association, the Sound and Vision Project will focus on a series of studies on hearing and vision assistive technologies. This project will also include our sharing of learnings through educational workshops and toolkits. To do this kind of research, we need help from tech-savvy folks like you to be a part of the series of pilot studies that test the hearing and vision assistive technology. Your participation could help shape the future of how these solutions can improve the lives of older adults everywhere. If you're interested, please contact me, Kristle Bulleman, at my email address here if you're interested in being a part of the vision solution testing. Or contact my colleague, Jen Lee, at her email address here if you're interested in testing the sound solutions. We really do appreciate your involvement in this. Now, I know this has been a lot of information in a short amount of time, but Jen and I are happy to take your questions at this time.